How's it going, YouTube? We're bringing you guys another Digimon BT7 rulings video. Today we're going to go over a few different interactions. Some of them involve a lot of specific rules processings. Not really rules processing, I should say, but more of order of activation, effect resolution, and stuff like that. So I figured like it was important to go over because some of these cards you're going to see a lot until the end of the format. A few decks have popped up that are going to really work with some of these cards, so I feel like they're going to see a little bit more play. You may see them at the Ultimate Cups this weekend and the following weekend, so I felt like they were important to go over. Here's little last minute rulings, things to go over so that you guys can know what your rules are and what to expect if you play this deck or if you are playing against this deck in the Ultimate Cups coming up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the first ruling. Alright everyone, so into our first ruling. This is the board state we have set up, except this Atomic Blaster is going to be in security. So the main card that we're going to go over here is going to be Atomic Blaster. Now Atomic Blaster reads, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 8,000 or less and delete them. So in this case, this card kind of works and is worded like something like Calling from the Darkness. It is an up to effect, more or less. Calling, if for those of you that may have watched the previous video, says delete one of your Digimon, then up to, then you return up to 2 purple Digimon from your trash to your hand. Now the thing about up to effects in Digimon is up to effects means that you can't take 0, but you can take up to the number of cards that you're allowed to take. So in Calling's instance, you're allowed to take up to 2. If you choose that you only want to take 1, you may take 1. You have to take at least something. It works pretty much the exact same way for Atomic Blaster. Atomic Blaster basically means you can clear as many Digimon on the field whose DP totals up to 8,000, or you can just target 1 and you don't have to spread out the DP. And here's what I mean. The situation that really comes up that I had this ruling asked is we have a scatter mode and another Digimon on field. We swing security with scatter mode. We check Atomic Blaster out of security. In some decks, people may not want to delete the scatter mode, but they may want to still make use of it. Now, in the situation we have here, they can, when Atomic Blaster comes out of security, they can delete the Gazimon and just the Gazimon. They don't have to delete this scatter mode if they don't want to. So they can just delete the Gazimon and then Atomic Blaster will resolve. Now, in a different situation where Eismon is the only target on field, you swing the Eismon, you flip this, you have to delete the Eismon. So just know that it's with up to effects, an Atomic Blaster in this situation with something like maybe an Eismon or something else on field. If there is an applicable target, you have to target it, but if you want to avoid targeting one specific Digimon and you can target something else with the effect, you can also do it that way. Alright everyone, so on to our next ruling, we're going to have Final Zubagon Punch. Now I know it's a little bit of an older card, but with X Antibody being popular and people been using this card, I felt like it was important to go over how this card's timing works for its full effect. Now, for those of you that don't know, Final Zubagon Punch is an option card that states one of your Digimon gains plus 3,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then, if it has 16,000 or more DP, it will gain blocker, reboot, and security attack plus 1. So the reason why this is important is you have to have that 16,000 DP by the time Final Zubagon Punch actually resolves. No time after. If you bump yourself up, you will not be able to gain that of the abilities from Final Zubagon Punch if you don't have the 16,000 at resolution. Now the reason why this comes up is this is a perfect example here with Alphamon. Let's say you use Final Zubagon Punch on an Alphamon that has no other effects under it and it's just plain old Alphamon. That would put it up to 14,000 DP. Now in this situation, you could swing in with the Alphamon, paying the 2 memory to then bump it up by another 2k, and now it's at 16,000. But since it didn't have the 16,000 when Zubagon Punch resolves, it will not get the blocker, reboot, and security attack plus 1. Now in the same vein, if you have, let's say you haven't used your Zubagon Punch, you swing in with your Alphamon, you then bump it up by 2,000, making it 13,000 for the turn. It lives the checks. Then you decide to play your Zubagon Punch. Now, when Zubagon Punch resolves, Alphamon will in fact be at 13,000 DP, and then Zubagon Punch will give it the other 3,000, making it 16,000 DP. Now, since it meets the requirements at the resolution of Zubagon Punch, it will in fact gain the reboot, security attack plus 1, and blocker. So really important to know your timings and to know that even if something bumps up the Digimon after you have resolved Zubagon Punch, you have to have the DP check at resolution of Zubagon Punch, not any time after, to gain the effects. Alright everyone, so while we're on the topic of Alphamon and X-Antibody, then I feel like it was a perfect time to go over this situation. Now, in this scenario, this is what our board state looks like. Our opponent has a Doru Greymon on the side of the field, we have a Scatter Mode, and these two Eismon are going to be in our hand. This Alphamon, on the other hand, will be in security. Now, for this is going to really go over security effect activation. It's a few lingering effects. It's really going to be more of a effect resolution type thing. So I think it's very important because this has come up so many times recently, and I know it will come up at some point during the Ultimate Cup if you're going to play some of these decks and you run into this matchup. So what Alphamon's security effect does, for those of you that don't know, this is the important part, is at the end of battle. This is really going to affect how this set of effect resolution works. But at the end of battle, you will add this card to your hand. And then, if you have an X-Antibody or Royal Knight Digimon on field, up to 12 of your opponent's Digimon can't attack the player for the rest of the turn. So, in this situation, we're going to go ahead, we're going to have Alphamon here in security, we're going to have our Eismon in hand, and we're going to swing our Scatter Mode into security. Now, our check, of course, is going to be Alphamon. This will trigger and then activate Alphamon's security effect. So in this situation, it now lingers. It doesn't do anything yet. It is triggered and it is activated, but it lingers until after the battle has ended. So now we have the battle. We have the battle between Alphamon and Scatter Mode. Scatter Mode is of course smaller than Alphamon. Unlike Zord Defeat, Alphamon does not stop the battle, so Scatter Mode will be deleted and go to trash. Now, this then triggers Eismon's Scatter Mode. We still have not fully ended the battle because we have to finish resolving all of these effects of our on-deletion effect of Scatter Mode. So we'll draw our 3 cards, and let's say the 2 cards we discard are going to be 2 Eismon. So these are going to be discarded into the trash. Now, our next pending activation that we have is the next thing that we have to activate, so in this case it's going to be Eismon. They will trigger simultaneously as they're discarded via the same effect. So they trigger at the same time, you play them out one at a time, and then you have 2 Eismon on the field. Now at this point, the battle has officially concluded. No more pending activations are left to resolve, nothing else like that. The battle is over. It is at this point that Alphamon finally finishes resolving its effect that it activated at the security check. So now, at the end of battle, our opponent will add this Alphamon to hand, and then 12 of our Digimon, of their opponent's Digimon in this situation, will not be able to attack players for the rest of the turn. So at this point, these 2 Eismon cannot attack for the rest of the turn. While they were since they were played before the effect of Alphamon finished resolving, because of it specifically states at the end of battle, then these 2 Eismon are legal targets for the effect of Alphamon because they were on the field after the effect finished resolving. So at this point, no matter what you do, if you Digivolve these Eismon up, they will not be able to attack players until the end of the turn. They can still attack your opponent's Digimon, but they just won't be able to attack players. So this is a little bit of more of an effect resolution ruling than anything, but I felt like it was very important to go over because this has come up so many times recently. I know I've mentioned that a few times, but I felt like it's a very important thing to go over. Alright everyone, so on to our next ruling. This is going to involve the timings with these specific cards that are in my hand. A Anubismon, a win rate 60%, and an Eismon with a Scatter Mode in trash. So before further ado, let's go ahead and go over our board state. We're going to have a level 5 on field. Doesn't matter. We have Cerberusmon here. We have a Tamer on field, in this case Analog Youth. We have a Scatter Mode in trash, and we have a level 3 in trash. All that matters here is really specifically that this is a Scatter Mode. As long as this is a level 3, a level 5, and a Tamer, that's all that really matters for this example. So in this situation, we're going to go ahead, we're going to pay our 2 memory, we're going to use win rate 60%. Now for those of you that don't know, win rate states on your main, the next time one of your Digimon Digivolves this turn, you may trash a Digimon card from your hand that matches the color of the Digivolving Digimon to reduce the Digivolution memory cost by 4. So we'll activate this. This causes it to linger. It just affects the next time you Digivolve. So if you have something else you want to do, maybe play a Tamer or maybe play an option card or something else, that doesn't really come up. It's just, you don't have to do it right away. It's just the next time one of your opponent or one of your Digimon Digivolves. So in this situation, we're going to go ahead and we're going to Digivolve our Werewolf mode into Anubismon. So we're going to declare Digivolution. So it's at this point that win rate will effect will effectively resolve, and we will discard a card from our hand. In this situation, we're going to discard an Eismon. Now, this is an interruptive effect. It basically interrupts the Digivolve. So that's really going to mess with the timing here on how this Eismon will activate. So if some of you may know, immediately after you resolve Eismon, assuming no other resolution has to happen, no other part of the effect has to, when you discard it, it's the most current pending activation, and this is when you would play it. But in this situation, win rate is an interruptive effect, so you discard the Eismon for the interruptive effect of win rate. This will also be, the interruption was the Digivolution of Anubismon. So at this point, the Anubismon is now Digivolved. You've paid any other additional cost. In this case, it's only 3, so there's no more cost to be paid. So the Anubismon Digivolves, and now you have the when Digivolving effect of Anubismon has triggered. And now at this point, the effect of Eismon is to consider to have triggered. Because it was an interruptive effect, it kind of affects how it was timed. So both the Eismon and the Anubismon now trigger at the exact same time. And as turn player, you get to activate their effects in any order. So now, let's say we decide to go ahead, activate the Anubismon, playing it out. And this is where we go back to our normal effect resolution. Our Anubismon is now out. This triggers Anubismon's Your Turn effect. This is a triggered effect because it has a condition such as when you play a Digimon from your trash. Then it will gain, it gives that Digimon rush to the end of the turn. So at this point, the Eismon will now be able to get rush from Anubismon's effect. And it is at this point that we will then decide to activate. The only other pending activation we have here is the pending activation of Anubismon when Digivolving effect. And we'll go ahead, play out the Gazimon. This will again trigger Anubismon effect to give Gazimon rush. So the reason why I wanted to go over this ruling in particular is because it means when you discard this Eismon and play it out, the Anubismon is on the field. So you are legally able to give the Eismon rush because the Eismon is played from trash. It is discarded in trash. That's where the effect triggers, and then it plays itself from trash. And the reason why this is important is if you didn't know how your timings worked, you may think that you play this Anubismon out before the Anubismon or play this Eismon out before the Anubismon has officially Digivolved, and it will not gain rush. That is not the case. You will finish the Digivolution of Anubismon, the effect of Anubismon will trigger, the effect of Eismon being discarded by a win rate will then trigger simultaneously, and like I said, you will play out the Eismon, it will in fact gain rush, and then so will the Gazimon that you play out. So this way, you know that if you do this exact situation, then your Eismon will be able to attack that following turn because it is on the field after the Anubismon is technically on the field, and you will be able to use its effect to give it rush. Felt a little redundant, but I wanted to make sure that you guys know exactly how this interaction works so that if you see this or if you're going to play this deck and you want to use this combo, that you know exactly how it works. Alright everyone, and that's going to be all that I have for you today. I know it's a little bit of a smaller video, we only went over 4 examples today, but I didn't want to overload people with a whole bunch of rulings that they might want to go over. I wanted to keep it a little bit smaller so people would have enough time to get in their practice before these Ultimate Cups. I'm not trying to take away from anybody's practice, I just want to make sure that you guys know some of these rulings that you might see this weekend going forward, this weekend and next weekend as the Ultimate Cups go on. I just want to make sure you guys are well informed about these interactions if you're going to bring some of these cards and some of these decks to the event or that you're going to see in this event. But all that being said, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, comment down below if you have any other small rulings things. I have access to community tabs now, so I'll probably make a post and just see if you guys can come up with a few examples that you may want to know exactly how the effect resolution works. Maybe some complex ones that I think are good, I'll pick out and put into a future video. Also, if I have that notification bell, I'm not sure how that works on YouTube, if they give that after a certain point or if I already have it, but if I have that notification bell, hit that notification bell so you know when I'm putting out more of these rulings videos or any of my gameplay videos or deck profiles or stuff like that. But with all that being said, guys, I hope this video was very helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope you guys do great at the Ultimate Cups. Be sure to get some of that fire prizing, and until next time, guys, have a great weekend, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.